I will be your host for the day, and our day will be split up into 9 segments. So it'll be quite a long day, but I'll try and make it very interactive for you. I will be asking questions, I will point out. Come on, join us. So if you're not sure about anything at all, or you've misheard anything that I've said, please feel free just to put your hand up and we can talk about it and we can go further into it. I want it to be quite an interactive experience. I don't just want to talk at you all day because I know it's boring. Yeah? So first of all, I'm going to be doing a very short presentation about fast growth through funding. Come on in. Come on in. So I'll briefly be going through, very briefly, just the investment vehicles, deal flow diagrams, and how to identify an angel investor's thesis. So investment vehicles, I'm sure you're all familiar with these. First one is obvious, sweat equity, also known as bootstrapping. That's just when you fund your own business. Sometimes bank of mum and dad, if you're generous enough to have one that has bank of mum and dad. Some don't. But it's safe to say that all of us do invest in our own business anyway, so this will apply to like everyone here when that started the business. Secondly, crowdfunding. Who's heard of crowdfunding? Just put your hand up. Yeah? Has anyone actually successfully done it as an entrepreneur? Has anyone tried and been unsuccessful? So there is at least 4 to 5 different types of crowdfunding. You've got your equity-based, so that's very similar to angel investment and VC. So that's when you give part shares in your company in exchange. I think that's the least common one. I think the most common one is probably donation-based and reward-based. So reward-based is where you get something maybe like on the mailing list, or you get discounts, or get to be part of their community, or like a VIP sort of treatment. Thirdly, we've got equity, which is the most coveted, I'd say, or first port of call for angel investors, but we also have like 3 different types. But it's also worth saying that angel investors come under like 2 umbrellas. They're either high net worth individuals or they are certified. So in the UK, you have to be registered to be an angel investor. And they can provide anything from £1,000 to 200 grand, it just depends on what their investment thesis is and how much they believe in you, etc., etc. And then finally, we have venture capital, which is the most coveted, but also the most challenging. I think the statistics are less than 1% of companies are selected. So your odds are extremely low, very unfortunate, in gaining VC funding. Tea coffee's also arrived outside, so if you want to go and get yourself tea or coffee anytime, just feel free to go. That's fine. I won't be offended. I just wanted to go into a little bit of the deal diagram, just how investors do vet potential investments. I do recognise there's quite a lot on here, but there's a lot that goes into it, and I didn't really want to miss anything out. So it has maybe six phases, I'd say. Deal sourcing, deal screening, product market fit, founder market fit, and that's when your KPIs will be assessed as well. And they'll also critically analyse the market and different forces going on in the environment. Third phase is partner review. Fourth phase is due diligence, which I'll go into a little bit at the end, because that's quite complicated. It's got 3 phases. 5, your investment committee. That's when everything's been okayed and everyone in the VC firm comes together to make an agreement. Usually it's like a vote. So say like there's 7 members, and if 5 say yeah, they'll go ahead. Sometimes, usually they say the best investments are the ones that have the most conflict. They're usually the better ones that become the unicorns. The ones that all the investment committees say, oh yeah, it's great, usually don't do that great because it's probably been done before. And finally, deploying capital, which should be our favourite part. So how to identify an angel investment's thesis? A lot of the time, they won't come out and say, and they won't publish it. That's because it's sort of like a regulated market, as with VCs are a bit more specific about what they're after. But I think with angels, I think because they're working solo, they have a lot more freedom to sort of invest in things that they believe in. They're not really bound by their company's policies and structures, etc., etc. But they will have an investment focus. Some angel investors are generalists, but not that many. So some will only invest in fintech, some will only invest in software, usually tech dominated. Most angels just invest in tech. And also the check size. Some angels won't invest any less than 25k because the returns wouldn't be viable for the effort they're going to put into your business in 5 to 7 year runway. And that brings us on to the investment horizon. How long do you want to hold your company for before you want to sell or extract any value from it? Some people say 5 years, some people say 10, some say 15. It depends on your circumstances. We'll go a little bit into that later on. And that's the formula for expected returns, which we don't have time to discuss. But I thought I'd put it in there anyway. So, very brief activity. I'm going to give you 5 to 10 minutes to do this, right? So, think of your startup or a fictional one that you would want to have, right, in your dreams or that's in the foreseeable future. And I want you to go onto the Angel Investment Network or LinkedIn and find an angel investor that you would love to invest in your company. There's no right or wrong answers. I just want a little bit of an explanation why. It could be just a good feeling.
Interested about money, but it's also big on charity because that's what our business is focused on as well. And also, of course, an investor who's interested in healthcare. So
what is your startup? What's it called?
It's called SenseEquip.
Okay, what does it do?
SenseEquip is here to optimize medical exportation between the UK and Africa and to revitalize healthcare systems across African nations.
Excellent. Very clear mission there, very powerful one as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what about yourself? You have some insights about angels. Being that we couldn't do it, we're just going to talk about generally about taking investment from angels and the do's and the don'ts.
Yeah, so my startup, very much startup is very much a key word in terms of, we're not out trading and visible as of yet. On the preparation side, we've been looking at what we're trying to achieve and who aligns with helping us to achieve that. The business is called Fill My Time. It's about bringing people back into society, the virtual realities that we're now in, where people are choosing to discuss online, text messages, all of these different aspects whereby they're becoming more isolated and loneliness has become sort of the biggest problem within society. The app, the app will, through AI integration, be able to click at the button and tell you when a group of people are all available. And if that date is 6 weeks away, 6 days away, ultimately it's able to say that person A, B, C and D are now all available on the 14th of March.
So it's solving loneliness.
It is, yeah. And it's taking the pain point out of actually arranging events. So what we found through our studies was that there are people who have the back and forth, well I can't do Tuesday but they can do Wednesday and they can't do Saturday, and before you know it, it all dies a bit stale. And people aren't out there and doing what they need to do. So we also looked at the second problem, which leads on to the investor side of things.
Have you actually looked yet for investment?
No, so we're trying to polish off. So we're pretty much there, but that may be from a naive perspective. So it's just trying to be equipped.
It doesn't matter.
Knowing that we're going to go forward.
How much would you ask for?
We're looking for 560,000. So it's not a small.
Do you know what your valuation is yet?
No, so this is a process that's ongoing at the moment that we're looking into. We've changed the financial model slightly, so the results of that have changed. We're also looking at a 2-year runway, so whether we break that down in terms of seeking out different pieces at different times. But ultimately with the investors, because of what we're trying to create, we're trying to solve 2 problems. What events are on, and also how do we get people back into society where they're actually face-to-face interactions. And the core ethos is, again, mental wellness, we cost of living crisis. So we want when people use our apps to promote their events, we only want to offer events. We don't want to be offering Gillette Fusion razors because it's not going to help with the vibe of what
So
we're
it's
trying
safe
to
to
go
say
for.
that you want an angel investor that's interested in social impact.
In making changes there, and whilst financially we know that there's sky's the limit, we want someone that aligns with we're just going to flood it with ads because that's where the money is, because ultimately that becomes a deterrent and doesn't solve the issue anymore. So yeah, we're looking for someone who aligns with not only the financial side but also the societal changes that are needed.
And the character of the
most
person
certainly,
as well, yeah. That's an excellent example. Sorry about the Wi-Fi, guys. We had a last-minute change of venue, so it was unforeseen that you wouldn't be able to use the internet, so I do apologise that you couldn't participate in that. But thanks for trying. So let's just talk a little bit about KPIs, because these are the things that angel investors will look for. Some of them will be more relevant to others, depending on what your startup's about. But I'd say gross sales, monthly active users for tech is really, really important. Your burn rate, how quickly you burn cash, what do you spend it on. That's also a massive important thing as well, because you need to be able to predict how much you're going to need and is it going to last for 18 months, 2 years. Because genuinely when companies ask for investment, they want it to last for at least 18 months. And that money, all that money to be accounted for. Does anyone know much about KPIs here? Or want to add anything? Raj, what do you look for? Which one's your favourite?
It's most like as a business owner, we look for the sales.
So it'll be gross sales, yeah? Right, okay.
Right.
So what about any... Yeah, go on.
The biggest problem with businesses is the cost of acquisition.
The camp.
People have got ideas and they think that just because you've got it, that people will come to you. And then they find out actually it costs a lot of money, it's more difficult than you think.
So would you say that they miscalculate it when they come to you?
Yes.
And then you need to assess and you need to put them straight and say, actually, that's a lot more than what you think it is.
The biggest reason why businesses go under is because they didn't understand how difficult it is to acquire new customers.
So did you hear that, guys? Your customer acquisition cost is one of the most important things. You need to master that to get a feasible and viable business.
So can I just add one other thing as well?
Of course.
People think if you build it, they will come. They won't.
We can go more into that later.
Okay.
So key considerations, this is just, I wanted to go into the things that are less obvious. One, your cap table, who owns your company? Do you own it all yourself? Do you already have an investor? Because that's going to attract or distract an investor. Because if you've already got bank and mum and dad that's saying, actually, we want to own 10% of the company because you're taking so long to pay it back, etc., etc., it's not going to be that attractive to an angel. Also, your exit strategy, liquidity. How's the investor going to get the money back? Is it going to be IPO, private equity, or acquisition? That's really, really important. Your team, you need to be able to delegate. There's no way in the next life you can do it all on your own. It's just not, it's impossible. Absolutely impossible. And an angel wants to see you live a long and happy life. So they're not going to agree to see in a one-man band. Yeah? So you need to delegate, you need to have the right people in place. And unfortunately, some of the people that have brought you to where you are aren't the people that are going to take you the next 10 steps forward. So that's something to consider. And also when you take on angel investment, you have to do quarterly reporting, so you will be held accountable. So you're going to have an extra layer of tasks to do in your business. So even though you'll get more income, you'll also have, you'll be under a lot more scrutiny, which can cause a lot of stress, especially if the numbers don't meet the benchmark of what's expected. Just a little bit about a due diligence flow chart. But I can send this to you anyway if you're interested and you can write down your email.
Just in terms of when building one thing that I've thought of, which I didn't know whether to expect, it sort of have different answers at different times. Generally, when you're going into a project, we're building the team at the moment, and we're almost trying to battle against our own weaknesses. So if you need someone financially, you bring in someone in financially because you know that that's not your skill set.
Yeah.
When going to investors, is there expectation to have them on board in terms of the, not so much the day-to-day 9-to-5 project, but their input on the project's direction and decisions in terms of seeking advice? So then looking for the skills of the investor, going, this person's had a great career in this sector, so therefore open to absorb that and to sort of take from it. Is it sometimes, do you sometimes find yourself in positions where they could be saying, oh, I'm not here to do that. You know, I've sort of done my contribution in terms of investment. It's now down to you to work it out. Or would you expect that it's almost always going to be that they're involved in some way in terms of helping improve what you're trying to do?
What would you say, Raj? What's your opinion?
Sorry, I think this is like this will be their own thinking what individually all of those things. So
It's all individually based. Some angels won't be that bothered, others it will be a deal breaker. I mean, that's sort of the positives and negatives about angel investing. It's very, very, very broad.
Yeah.
So really you'll get one that'll just say, look, if you need anything, just call me and I'll drop everything. Others will say, I want to see you every week.
Yeah, because sort of like I'm almost looking at I almost want someone else's skills as well.
Absolutely. You
to
don't
help
just want the money.
cook
We
the
want,
recipe, yeah.
we want value to be added to the company.
That's the importance though, isn't it? To set that from the very start. You have to set that as the owner of the business of what you specifically want and what you want from the investor. You make that as an agreement and then moving forward, nobody can say anything different. But only you know what you want out of somebody, and when you're seeing them in front of you, it's the questions you ask.
Right.
exactly, and also the same thing because when you come to us as an investor, you need to tell us what you want from us, skill, investment only, or both.
Or
Something
network.
like that. Yes,
Network,
networking, because there are lots of things. You need to tell clearly what is your
So you
requirement.
need to know what you want
Yes.
and not just the money. That's important because it can be quite off-putting. Because angels, they want to make the profit, but they actually want to feel useful.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of ways, if they don't feel useful, they can feel like they're actually holding you back. You can do the reverse.
You'd be absolutely mental as a founder to take investment from an individual that's built their own career, has made a lot of money, now wants to give some of that back in terms of they want to support new talent coming through. They often only invest in things that they understand. If they're only investing in a business that they understand, then it's a business they can help. So you almost get free advisory services by taking in angel investments, because whether they dictate that they want some shares or they want to actually take a role like a non-executive director or not, it's going to be up to that person. But I don't know anybody that wants to put 10 to 25k into a business and then never hear from them again. They're going to want to know that they can help steer you in the right direction. And from a founder's perspective, having 20 people all invest 10k that understand your business and can help you, give you a map and compass, is much more valuable than taking in 200k from an early stage VC who breathes down your neck and basically wants to know when you're going to return the money, and you're not really that interested in support. So angel investors, big tick, so you get that support.
Rosie.
And also you've got to bear in mind that their names are on the line here, their reputation's actually on the line. So you being clear of what you actually want from the offset is the key, because if you're not clear, what do you expect from them?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you've got to be clear and have...
We was very clear with it. I think in terms of the thought process, in advance, in terms of preparation, I think it was the expectations that maybe we shouldn't expect that. But then again, from the answers, it seems logical that they're going to be involved in that way.
Colin.
Yeah, I think to your point, you're correct. I think the thing is that often the syndication amongst angels, and you want one or two of those, according to how many there are, as a lead investor, providing the general mentoring and advice at that early stage.
Yeah.
But certainly it's no good if you just get the money without the investment, unless, I would say this, wouldn't I? Unless you've got a trusted advisor from the outset that can evaluate his experience, because it's an art, not a science, and you know, can evaluate from his experience whether these angels are going to help or not, or whether it's just their money, and that's fine. But as long as you're aware, it's just that's fine.
Great conversation there. Thank you very much for your contributions. This is just a flow chart, just telling you a little bit about the due diligence process. And thank you for your... Now, right, so what we're going to do, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different topics, yeah, that can be discussed. And I want you to choose which one, because you're the one that's going to be listening. I'm not going to choose for you. So either A, how to pitch effectively and gain investor confidence. B, when is the right time to scale? C, balancing rapid growth with maintaining core business values. D, connecting with investors, mentors and business partners. E, leveraging local and international communities. F, key takeaways from setbacks. And G, keeping motivation. Does anything appeal to anyone? Rosa?
All of them?
C, I would say.
C? C and D, yeah? Right.
Someone say G.
Okay, let's start with C.
Parekh. I am the founder of TPL Experiences. We are a values-led consultancy working with organizations on improving their overall culture, resilience and well-being. We're a business for good, so community impact is very much deep-rooted in our business model. We've supported organizations, about 100 organizations in the last 7 years of founding the business. I'm originally from India. I'm born and raised in India. And back in India, I also had a consultancy working with global organizations like Vodafone, Samsung, Unilever, really looking at the employee engagement, employee recognition piece. I've traveled for over 30 countries now, working with 200 global organizations when I had my consultancy in India. And along with that, fun fact, I was also a sports television presenter. I presented the National Motorbiking Championship for about 8 years for a channel called Star Sports. Anybody who's from India might know what that channel is. And yeah, I decided to give all of that glory and success up and relocate to Leeds about 8-9 years back, and launched my business here about 8 years back, called TPL Experiences. And looking forward to sharing my insights in my two beds really this afternoon. Thank you.
Got to follow that. That was really good. Hi everyone. I'm Olivia Faye and I'm the founder and CEO of Sonder Lifestyle Group. We have two companies, so we have a lifestyle store cafe and we have a tattoo studio where we're trying to fill a gap in the market by fusing wellness with tattoos, because it's not been done yet, as you can see. So we're trying to fill a gap in the market and we've just started our investment journey. So hopefully I can give you some insight on helping how to get over the difficult situations and bouncing back. And yes, that's me. Hi.
Hi everyone, my name is Charvion Murtaza and I'm the founder of the business Etimart, which is an e-commerce store where I sell handmade crafts and gifts made by authentic artisans from different countries. Especially the idea is to support those artisanal communities and give them, employment opportunities and connect them with the global market of conscious consumers. I started my business back in 2020. I'm originally from Pakistan, so I moved in 2017. Then I got full scholarship to do my master's in fashion entrepreneurship from Leeds Beckett University. After finishing my master's, I started my startup. It's been a couple of years now. And initially I was in London, then I moved to Bradford. So hopefully I'll be able to share some parts of my journey with you today.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Vikas Nepal. I'm the founder of a brand called Nepal Foods. I came to UK as an international student in 2009. After finishing my masters in marketing, I started a company called Market Direct, which is still in operation. So initially I started doing marketing for different Indian brands. So we're looking after their sales, marketing, merchandising, promotion and sampling activities in the UK. And because I was from Nepal, I wanted to do something for my own country. So I was looking for Nepalese products in the market, but I couldn't find anything which was a bit more premium, which I actually wanted to introduce into the UK market. So in 2018, I started my own brand called Nepal Foods. So far, since 2018 to now, in 2018, I started with about 43 different products. So far now we have about 320 products in the market, and started from UK, but as of now, as of today, we're in 25 different countries worldwide. So we're in US, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Japan, and pretty much all across Europe. So that's my journey in short. So yeah, if you have any questions around that, it would be absolute pleasure to answer them. Thank you.
Fantastic introduction, thank you very much for that. So let's go on to the first panel discussion. Balancing rapid growth with maintaining core business values. What would be your views and opinions of that, or how would you approach that? Or how have you approached it? Anyone can start, no rules.
I think working with the right people, I would say, is really important, because otherwise you'll be trying to grow and you won't have the right team. So as it was touched on earlier, like, you have to get that network right. And if you have someone on your team that isn't really understanding the point of what you're trying to do, it's not really going to work. So your core values, probably to grow, have to remain across the board, if that makes sense.
So do you want to talk about your experience of that briefly?
Yeah, I mean, with our tattoo studio, we've had people come in who have come, applied for an artist role, but they haven't understood that we're trying to actually make this an experience. It's not just come in, get your tattooed and then leave. We've had artists that have come in and they're just not interested in giving that client experience, where they need to make the client feel more at ease, lessen the anxiety. You don't just remember your tattoo for a lifetime, you remember the experience and you remember where you were. And we've had artists who haven't quite understood that brief, who have almost damaged the business by not prioritising that. So your team is key, and if you're going to grow, you have to be able to grow with the team around you that understand what it is that you're trying to do, if that makes sense.
So with you, it was the lack of soft skills in regards to the artists?
Yeah, exactly, and not really understanding the point of what we were trying to do. We're currently trying to do something completely different in the tattoo industry, where we fuse wellness and mental wellness with the tattoo experience. A lot of people who get tattoos, it is for the reason of
it has a sentimental meaning a lot of the time,
and
doesn't it?
sometimes trying to cover scars or mastectomies, and people don't understand those are really personal experiences, and the industry is just not innovative enough at all to be able to do it properly. So we've taken on artists with the impression they understand our whole point, but they haven't, and it's almost damaged what we're trying to do, because they just don't get it and they don't have the same values. So it's all about working with people with the same values, so that you're not almost damaging what you're trying to do by taking on people because they seem the right fit.
Because they're wrong fit.
Yeah, do your due diligence and really, really.
So what did you do to rectify that then? Did you change your recruitment process? Were you more clearer?
We've started to try and really make it obvious, on our website, on our Instagram. Everything we're doing is trying to push that point forward. We'd love to get some new artists, but you need to really prioritise customer care and experience level. It's something that we're trying to do as a matter of importance for people with mental health issues. I'm a neurodivergent female founder, and for me that's important. I have a lot of clients that are neurodiverse that do really struggle with that really nerve-wracking environment, who don't have the care there. There's no care. You come in, they say, here it is, and they make you feel awkward if you want changes. And actually that's on them forever, and it's a very intimidating process. And there's just, the care isn't there, and the gap isn't the market, I purely believe, because no one cares enough. The rates are good, you earn good money per hour, why would you put extra effort in for somebody else? But that's the point. Sometimes you can do things for other people. It doesn't have to always massively benefit you, it can still benefit you when you care about others. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
And just to add to that, I think what you touched on is really important in terms of really understanding what growth means to you. I think very often we can all get too bogged down and overwhelmed with other people's definition of success, other people's definition of growth. So I think sometimes you've got to really take a few steps back and really reflect on what growth means to you. Like for example, in your case, care and managing that customer experience with care is of great importance to you, and for you that is your journey towards being more established, reaching out to more people, and that's yours to own. I think sometimes we can get too busy in understanding everybody else's interpretation of growth. For TPL experiences, I'm going to probably share a failure for me, which actually allowed me to then understand, well, actually this is not what I want to do. Is that very early on in our journey in this country, when everything is new, when you are soaking in a lot of information and you're getting used to a lot of rejection, you can very easily go down the route of, well, somebody else has told you that success means getting 5 employees by year 3. And so then you stick that in your head because somebody else from this country has told you that. And so you kind of follow through. And then I realized very quickly, once I got that, is that I'm actually feeling a lot more anxious than I was in year 1 or year 2. You know, so I had to really assess what was growth for me. I did come to realize that after a couple of years, it's a work in progress, that for me, growth is really about building a team that actually chimes with the experience of the client, actually truly believes that we are here to solve a problem for the client, and we're not just here as consultants to have those retention fees coming through. And it was a work in progress where now, till touch wood, where now we have established a team of about 42 associates where we work across the country. And all of these, each 42 individuals, are people who are extremely passionate about that client experience, that problem-solving experience. But that has been a work in progress. So I think when we talk about values, when we talk about growth, I think it's really important for us to understand what does that growth mean to you, what do values mean to you, and then go on building something around that, rather than picking up somebody else's model or interpretation and then sticking by it, because it's not going to be genuine. You're going to feel very exhausted and tired in a few years because it's not come from you. Yeah, that's probably what I wanted to add as well.
As you both mentioned, like it's important to work with the right people, but I feel it's the most difficult task to get the right people on the team, because you know, like if I talk about the random person who just want a job, he's just coming for money, he doesn't care like what company is working or what is not working, he just at the end of the month needs money and just want to go home. So how, and if you recruit the wrong person, like it's not easy to judge a person with 1 meeting or 2 meetings. Different people have different work ethics when they come, and it takes time. So 6 months gone, it's already has affected your company because the guy we hired is not up to the level, and then you have to do another recruitment to replace that person, and this process just goes in. It's a very continuous process. So what what would you suggest? What process, like how to find those right people to fit it in the company that share the same values, where you see the company that they can have the same vision as, like the whole company have the same vision as a founder, but like what would you say, like how? Yeah.
I'll probably give you a very quick sort of practice that I've put in, but I'm conscious that it would be lovely to get the other panelists in this conversation as well. One of the things that I have worked on as a founder is really strengthening that induction process very firmly. So in terms of just putting in a lot of time and energy, it's a slow process. I'm not going to say there's this magic formula, use it and off you go. It's a lot of parallels that happen. So along with building your network, along with meeting people, along with knowing what you don't want, I think that's a really important bit to cover as well, what you don't want in your team. While you are learning all of that, there's also that space to actually strengthen that process. So for me now, as it stands, we've got a very, very sort of clear pathway in terms of how we put that induction process in, where we are talking a lot about values, where we're talking a lot about what we're expecting from the team. And you'll always, I'm not going to say there's going to be 100% success ratio, because I think even in the biggest organizations you're not going to have that. But as you become more certain about what you want, and as you become more certain about the language you use in terms of the output, in terms of the values, then automatically you are going to start attracting people and who get that you're here not just for the money, but you're here to actually make a difference. But it does mean that you have to strengthen that process of recruitment. You have to strengthen the process of induction. Because recruiting is just one part of the problem. I think it's really that after recruiting, that experience, which is absolutely critical to make sure that a person actually embeds into the culture of the organization. So that to me has given me a decent amount of success rate. I'm not going to say it's been 100% flawless, but I'm sure other panelists have some other bits to add. So go ahead.
I would say in terms of my experience, because my business is a product-based business. So as they have talked about issues with the people or the team members, I need to make sure the products that I have on my that I'm selling on my business are related to the core values that I have put in place in the first place, right? In that scenario, I need to make sure when I'm connecting with suppliers, mostly either nationally or internationally, I need to make sure the certification is in place, because when you are trading in UK, a lot of businesses they do are certified. So if I'm selling ethical and fair trade products, a lot of them are are certified probably. So when I'm trying to go ahead and trying to find suppliers, I need to make sure that the certification is placed. Sometimes international customers, they don't really bother about certificates. So when I'm dealing with them, I get that experience. I know whether I will be able to cope up with them for a couple of years in time, when I'm growing my business, whether they'll be able to provide me the same customer service that I want to move forward into my clients as well. So a lot of times when I'm dealing with different suppliers, from my experience, I can tell whether they are the right people to go with in the future. If I buy from them one time and I'm not satisfied with their service, I might not go ahead second time or the third time. So I would say you learn from your experience as well. Time teaches you what works best for your business and for your own self as well.
Yeah, I have a question. In terms of the growth side of things and the core values, I feel as though with the project that I'm on with at the moment, that the core values in many ways slow down the growth rate. We are very much trying to combat the social media sort of world that we've all become infatuated with, and we're trying to offer a different realm of how we can use that more positively. For example, if I don't have social media, but if I was to be on there, I would be flooded with different ads from different things, whether they have any relevance to me or not. And I can understand why, for Facebook, for example, would choose to use that process in terms of that's the way they make money. In terms of what we're trying to do, we're trying to come away from that and create a new aura and different values. One of the things which we're very much not a social media site, but you may see some resemblances in terms of what we're trying to have for the future users, but by not doing it in the same way. One of the things that we're very much adamant on is because of the service that we're looking to offer and the fact that it's going to be AI integrated with your schedules. On Monday evenings I go to football and that's every week, so I'm never available. So if Facebook was offering me the possibility to go to a comedy event that was on in the area, just because geographically I'm around the area, it's now wanting to offer me that. Now what that's doing is that's charging the business for putting it in front of me, but I'm not ever going to be available because I have plans and I have commitments. And what we want to do in terms of the core values is understand people's diaries and know that if there was an event on like this event today, if you work 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, you're never going to be here, so the event wouldn't be put to you. So what we're trying to do is create that value. My question is when we look at the sort of value side, that then changes our planned trajectory in terms of where we expect to be, because we can't just go pitch to different businesses and say, we have this great app that, solves this problem for you as a business, because we want more return on investment for the investors in terms of, sorry, not the investors, the businesses, whereby we say, don't pay Facebook to show for everyone to see your ad. Pay Facebook because the people using the app are actively seeking activities, events, and we only categorically offer them sort of ads rather than, offering your food supplies, for example. That would not be something that fits in the social dynamics of what we're trying to do. Because of the values that we have, the rapid growth as it is, ultimately has a slightly different trajectory because we have to be more patient with the approach. So I just wondered what your thoughts were on how that could be combated, or whether we just sort of sit out and proud and say, this is the way that we're going with it.
I think you have to look at the bigger picture. So if your goal is to help as many people as possible, you'll have to use social media to get there. So it's the most effective way to advertise right now. And if you're not wanting to give your money to the big corporations, I would advise collaborators, I would advise influencers, I would advise using people that want to help your process and be involved. But use them rather than use the channels. Does that make sense? You don't have to do a paid advert, but you could collaborate with an influencer who has influence over people, who can then also help you to promote through that channel. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it was more that there wasn't, not the willingness to sort, because as it was touched upon briefly before, in terms of cost per user, that's going to be something that, as a startup, really needs to be oiled and manoeuvre well. So ultimately we will go to social media for these opportunities to get the users in. So in terms of that growth side, we're hopeful on that. We've got a few projects that we're working on which are going to be very cost effective in terms of us not needing to sort of plug into that to the levels that some may. However, it's more the bringing the businesses on board, because ultimately that's where the profitability is. So we're going to be limited on the amount of businesses that we can set up a transactional agreement on in terms of us being a profitable company. And that's where the limitation comes, because we're no longer available to everyone on ad basis views. But thank you.
You could also collaborate with businesses that you see as competitors, so with charities that you see as competitors. You could actually collaborate with them and say, look, we have a like-minded goal. This is something that we're both trying to achieve. And if they use social channels, you could collaborate with them and use their network.
Right, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Good idea.
Another thing is obviously nowadays social media is you can even narrow down every single thing. So we use a lot of social media ads. So what we do is, there are so many things you can narrow down based on the age, ethnicity, the area. So you could narrow down and bring it to absolute what customer that you're targeting it. So that's something done, but marketing is not something you cannot be 100% right. You can get to a certain level, but that's how the marketing works. So you can't expect if you are spending let's say £100 on that, you cannot expect the whole in return. That's how it works. But if you're using social media, there are ways to narrow it down and get right onto your customer. So yeah, that's that. Talking about the growth, obviously, as I said, we started in 2018 with only about 43 different products, and now we're in 320 products. So our business core value is all about quality of the product, keeping it as authentic as possible, and premium packaging that we have. We have some of our products outside for you guys to see and try, and give me some feedback if you like. Just be mindful, there are some products that are really hot, some spicy stuff. So obviously when I started the business in 2018, managing 40, 50 products was quite easy, and to maintain the packaging and everything was easy. But as the business grows, obviously I have to make sure that the way I started the business, the quality of the product, the packaging of the product, and the like the premium quality which is found in Nepal. So we try and focus on the actual authentic product which is found in Nepal. So Nepal does not grow everything throughout the year. So now as the business has grown, because initially in 2018 I was only catering to the UK population, whereas now we're catering to 25 countries worldwide. So the business has grown rapidly. So for us the challenge is sourcing the right product. So we even work with the farmers. We have a foundation called Nepal Food Foundation, where we help the farmers get the right equipment who can grow the right products that we need. So we work from a very grassroots level so that we have that consistency, the quality and everything maintained throughout the process. So I think that's pretty much it, what we do about this.
Sometimes your core values are affected by the angel investors. How do you manage that? Like if we talk about UK, very big petroleum company, they said like we were going to be eco, and then because they are not earning that much money because of that, so angel investor says no, you can't do that, we can't go eco. So they stopped and they came back to the things. How sometimes your core values of the company is being affected by angel investors. Like how you deal with that?
Sorry to interject. Can we, because we're running out of time, can we just move on to connecting with investors, mentors and business partners, because that feeds into it, doesn't it? It's about business.
Yeah, sure.
So can we just move on to that? Is that all right? Yeah. And you can go back round after you've answered. Okay. Go ahead.
So
Yeah, go ahead. Connecting with investors, mentors and business partners, so you were saying how you cultivated them relationships?
So for us, the main thing is like also go and work in a restaurant, so that you would know ins and out of that, and try and maintain a very good relationship with your line manager or the general manager, and then that way, like, you know, if you go and sit down with somebody and say, oh, can you mentor me? They'll just be, you know, we try to make up things and present in front of you. But if you're just sitting down as a colleague or something, then you are much open up and you share like your experience in a real way. And I think that would be more genuine, and that would be more like, which could be related to the work that we'll start.
So how long the mentoring we can take, you know, as an immigrant coming as a student? So it's a very frustrating. So you have a time limit, you have a visa restrictions, right? So you have a visa restriction, and for example, I went to Nepal for, and then I'm asking for mentoring, but you are very busy, right? That's where the frustration comes. I have very limitation, but I'm thriving, you know, I'm hustling. And, you know, as immigrants, we always hustle. We hustle for visa, come here, and we just want job to do. And now I want stability, and I'm working in a corporate sector now. I'm working 9 to 5, and I'm very happy. I mean, I'm happy with my job, but at the same time, I also want to do a business. So that's what my question is. So how long do we take mentoring? And if we pay fees, there will be a certain time, like they will give a time, they will give a focus, right? And I think somebody said, go to somebody, they will teach you like for free, but time is not free. It's not free at all. People are busy, and my time is
Well, I think it's a case of you as the entrepreneur, when you approach a mentor saying, look, I need help with X, Y, Z. I know that you're busy. Could we do 2 sessions between January and March? I've got this day, that day, this day, and that day. Do any of them work for you? So you've already given them all the information. All they have to do is look in the diary. So you've done all the work already. So it's about being very direct and very assertive. And I think that'll come across as you being very confident, which is positive. Because they don't want to guide you. They want you to guide yourself. You need to tell them what they want.
One thing I would like to share here, because I am currently on an innovator visa, and my visa is sponsored by University of Bradford, and I am in regular touch with them, and they do my mentorship as well, every few months' time. So there is no certain criteria how many sessions would be enough for you. It completely depends on you. Let's say you just started your business, you need a mentorship to start your business, and after a couple of months or couple of years, you wanted to grow your team, then you need another few sessions, how to deal with your people, how to deal with your team. So I wouldn't say there is a there's a rule, a black and white rule, oh, these much sessions would be enough for you. It's an ongoing process, and you would know. You would know with time. Like at the moment, I would say that I have been with the University of Bradford since a couple of years. And if I'm extending my visa, I know I'll have another few years with them. So it's always benefiting me. But also, like I said, I was part of NetWest Accelerator, so they gave me 6 months mentorship as well. Then time to time, I do go on Digital Boost website if I have any particular kind of mentorship requirement related to certain fields. So I would say experience. With experience, you will learn a lot of things. But since you're part of the university at the moment, I'm not sure how all of you, but try to utilize the resources that you have available within the university, the networking sessions, because as a student, it helped me a lot. By attending the sessions, the guest speakers, you kind of build relationships with them. When they see you one time and then second time, then in the future, if you go to them and ask them questions, they are more than willing to, because they have already built a relationship with you in the past.
I just want to add to that I think your mentors keep changing as you build the business, so it's not like you have to stick with one mentor I'm currently on my 6th mentor. The other thing I want to say is that please use LinkedIn. I know we touched upon that, but LinkedIn is a great platform to connect with people. We kind of, I guess, again, it depends on where we come from and how popular LinkedIn as a platform is in our home country. But in this country specifically, LinkedIn does work, definitely. Join some groups, maybe it could be just Google or just add Leeds business networking groups, and I'm sure there'll be like a dozen that come up. As soon as you join these groups, even when you are in your full-time job, during your evening time when you're back home, you could just put a request that I'm looking to set up my business, I want to speak to somebody, and you'll be amazed at the generosity that people show. So even if in your head you feel like, oh, I'm not sure about the time commitment and all of that, a simple half an hour on LinkedIn can actually also be beneficial to you. But ask. You won't get anything if you don't ask. So ask.
We do have time constraints, guys, so is there anything else that you'd like to add before we have a break for 15 minutes? Yes.
Please could I ask about G on there? It's all very well having all this information, but you've got to show up every day and lock in and exist to make it happen. How do you guys battle through tough circumstances that bring you down to get where you've got?
I'd say you've got 5 key things in general entrepreneurship. I'd say you've got persistence, so keep going. You've also got ambition, you need motivation, your self-belief, and general. The other one sounds like persistence. Resistance, yes, that's the one. So keep those things in mind all the time, because you actually learn a lot more from when things fail. I feel like you then know what not to do. And sometimes you can feel like, the saying goes, you fall down 6 times, get up 7. So it's like, things will knock you down and you'll be like, oh, why am I still grafting this? Why am I still trying to do this? Like, I'm 12 years into being self-employed at this point, and I'm still going because I believe in what I'm doing. But self-belief is key, and if you don't believe in yourself, investors won't believe in you. So it's like, no matter how hard it is, no matter how long you're going for, just keep doing it. If you truly believe in it, you'll keep going until you get there. But you need to show that to investors.
But I think it's important that you know how to look after yourself as well.
Yeah.
Because I think as entrepreneurs, we need to know when to switch off. You cannot be on 24/7, isn't that right, Ron? You were saying about making yourself ill, doing too much. That's why delegating is so important. When you're able to, do delegate and do build a team. But I think meditation, spa weekends, just having that time off, saying to family and friends, look, on Thursday I'm not doing anything, and I'm just going to do what I want. I'm not going to think about work, I'm not going to think about any problems, so just don't ring me that day. Have that protected time for yourself.
Absolutely, and also forgive yourself. I mean, we can all have these great things on the poster, take 5 deep breaths, and but on some days things are going to go really, really bad, and you're not going to want to look at any piece of paper. You don't want to call anybody who's going to tell you, you know what, just go for a walk. You will find it very frustrating. Like, I know what to do. I didn't call you for that. So I think sometimes you just got to forgive yourself, got to accept that some days are going to be absolute rubbish, nothing is going to go as per plan, and I am human, and tomorrow will be a new day, and I'll start all over again. So sometimes, I mean, it's great, and you should have all these coping mechanisms of, you know, doing meditation and all of that, but equally, forgive yourself. Yeah, it's not going to work out as per plan every single day. You are flawed, I am flawed, we're all flawed individuals. There are going to be ups, there are going to be lows, and we've got to go through all of that. So yeah, forgive yourself, don't take yourself too seriously.
Feelings are meant to be felt. So feel feelings.
Yeah, I would say this is the most difficult part of being an entrepreneur, because a lot of times it's not about the business, it's about yourself as well, being an entrepreneur. And I think in the business, business sometimes works or not works. It's about your own self as an entrepreneur, how resilient you are. There would be times, there would be tough times that will knock you down, but it's upon yourself. Then, okay, you may take through a couple of hours, a couple of days, just to, you know, slow down things, slow your mind as well, because you're thinking about so many different, being an entrepreneur, you know, you are, if you're just like a sole trader handling so many things at the same time, marketing, accounting, inventory management, whatnot, everything, when you're just starting out, you know. So it can be very difficult. I have gone through that stage as well. It's not easy. So you definitely need some time to like she said, shut down your, switch off, shut down your mind and just calm yourself, because what I did, what worked for me was early morning wake up. So when I started to wake up early in the morning around 5:30, 5 o'clock, when everything is quiet, that helped me a lot when I would do my prayers or meditation. So, and I started seeing some progress into my business. So you need to realize what works for you as an entrepreneur. There would be times, so just try to figure out what helps you as a person as well, not an entrepreneur, as a person, and try to utilize those key moments to help yourself in those tough times.
Spend quality time with yourself. Like, take yourself somewhere that you want to go, just on your own. Like, literally, just have a day for you. Go and do it and go and enjoy it. And genuinely tell yourself at least 3 things a day that you can find about yourself, that you're proud of, that you're positive about, that reinforce why you're on this journey that you're on. Because a lot of people, you know, we're taught a lot in life to kind of like settle and just be okay with
Accept
what
the minimum.
like what we kind of say, well, you know, do a 9 to 5 and then, you know, everything's great. But sometimes you want more, you want to be in charge of your own hours, you want to build something, you want to help people, and it's like, you know, there's so many reasons why you do it. Remind yourself why you're doing it, because it's important to, sounds cliche, but give yourself self-love and, you know, pat yourself on the back when you achieve things, because not everybody can.
Celebrate your wins.
Yeah,
when
celebrate your
when
wins.
you've,
Accept
when you've
your
done something,
losses.
always make sure you celebrate it, because it's important.
I think one more thing I want to add on those is, like, you know, when you have tough times, we always take the like a break, go and enjoy when you have very good times. From the last 1.5 years, what I did, like whenever I have the tough time, I go for a holiday.
Yeah.
Because like you just take the break, like then you'll come with a very good ideas. I have told the same thing to my friend who went to the Nepal now, because he had a very, very bad time. Tell me like go and take up everything. For 6 years he went outside. Now from when you come back, you'll be very fresh and he will do much more things. If you just like be on the like oh I need to do this thing, like if you think more, you'll have more negative than like positive. So take time off on the tough time.
And you can't do a holiday, see friends.
Many of you, being in positions that you are today, have had that feeling of guilt for not doing something. So, for example, I handed in my notice at work 3 weeks ago. I've got so much annual leave to take, I've only had to work 2 days throughout the whole month. But I feel guilty for I've not done anything for a week really but show up at events, and I'm starting to feel that guilty, thinking, right, I finished my employment, I should really be working on my business and getting it registered. So do any of you ever feel that guilt sometimes? It sets in thinking, oh my gosh, I should have done this, and I've not
All the
done
time.
it.
And
Okay, right.
working on yourself is working on your business.
Yeah,
Like your time, your
it's part of your journey as well.
Yeah.
I also which sort of relates to, because it's I think once a project's begun, so once a project's begun and you have gone through difficult times and then 2 years go by and then 4 years and then you're in a position where you sat at the chair facing inwards, and it's almost like some of the traumas that you've gone through in your life today don't really matter. So I think sometimes when you can reflect on, especially at the start of a journey, where you are and where you aren't, it can feel quite intense because you're in the moment. When some of the things then later pass, and I think for me, like you mentioned, finding your reason why has been probably my biggest strength. But one of the main things that I take with me in the project that where I'm at the moment is when it comes to the process of being motivated or keeping yourself going. We're planting seeds, pre-seed, we're planting seeds, and we can't speed the process up much more than just watering it. And sometimes we have them negative days where we're like, what is the point, why bother? But something's happening under the soil, and sometimes you do have to just be kind to yourself and just have them days where you go, I have faith that the seed's growing, and just keep the process
I like that,
ticking.
thank you. Because the other day, on Wednesday, I went home, 1 o'clock, and I thought, I've got gym at 5:30, I went to bed. I actually stripped off, put my GPJs back on and climbed back into my bed and slept. And then there was that guilt of, oh my days, I should have been doing X, Y, Z.
Rest and exercise are some of the key things that we can do. So actually you was doing what you should have been doing.
And you're not going to be everything for everyone all the time,
And when you get to where you're trying to get to, you'll be like, oh my god, why did I not take that nap that afternoon? You'll kill that right now, I'd love it. So take the nap, enjoy it.
And it's also important, I would like to add here, is not to compare your own journey with someone else's. Especially in these days of social media where everyone is talking about, oh, I have made certain millions, or I have reached my followers within few days or few months' time. When you are doing it yourself, it may take a couple of months or years as well. Your journey can be slow. So try not to compare yourself with someone else, because it's going to exhaust you and it's going to put you in so much negativity. So try to just focus on from where you started and where you are at right now. So that's going to help you in the future as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, entrepreneurs, for the panel. That was really insightful. Thank you. Now we're going to take a 15-minute break.
Thank you.
Yes.